Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cone Racing League here for round 6 of CR4 here in the lovely circuit of Suzuka in Japan. I am your usual host, CRL Freefall, but tonight, this evening, I am very excited to announce my co-host tonight. He is a legend within this league, part of the furniture, and if Mr. Danny Pheasantplucker last week was our version of a comms legend, well then, this is our sporting legend, our Bernie Eccleston, shall we say. It's of course the one and only CRL AJ Wuhan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freefall. Appreciate the introduction, and we're going to say it's been a long time coming to finally commentate on a race here in Tier 4, and I'm looking forward to it.
Of course, you've been racing at the league all 5 seasons now, nearly 4 I said there. First time in the comms booth since Tier 1 I believe, Season 1 I believe, sorry.
Yeah, Season 1. Yeah, it was a race in Bahrain in the Academy that's now called Tier 4, which is what we're watching now, and yeah, it was a great race and really enjoyed the occasion, so let's hope that this lives up to the, to the same standard, because it's always been a great league, great division to race in. Welcomes a lot of drivers over the past year or so, and yeah, here we go.
Aye, absolutely. I'm lucky to count myself as one of them drivers that introduced, and you know, there's been a few other guys, and well, we've kind of came along through the divisions, and hopefully some of these guys will be doing that as well. We've already seen this season that they have got the ability and definitely the potential for it, but this will be a little test for them tonight. The tricky technical circuit of Japan. We'll just have a look at the track map here. We can see it is intermediate conditions for qualifying. Of course it is in the city of Suzuka, first raced here in 1987. 5.8 kilometers long with 18 turns. Very unique circuit in the fact that it's not an anti-clockwise or a clockwise circuit. It's of course a figure of 8, so a little bit different than everything else in the calendar. This next bit, I've been dying to say this all week, of course. CRA winner last season was the amazing, wonderful CRL Freefall, and he of course took pole. I don't know what he's doing now with his life, but probably the highlight of his career, the race last season. But he's not the only person that we know who's got a bit of success around this track, isn't he, Jacob? There's a certain somebody that is a big fan of this track.
Yeah, 2 races here in Tier 1 and 2 wins, so I'll take that, and hoping to continue that form over the next race as well. Oh, I've just seen Tomo actually at the hairpin kind of spin out there. Hope he's alright. I think he's still able to reverse out of it. Yeah, he seems to be alright. But yeah, it's a difficult track. Good blend of technical corners in Sector 1 and a bit of a fast section in between Sector 2 and 3 with Spoon and the Casio Triangle. So it's definitely a good, definitely a good challenge to get through it all.
Definitely mixing, of course, this year with the sort of changes to the handling, the sort of reworking of the physics model in certain ways. The curbs are probably as deadly as they've ever been. We know from experience, you know, the hairpin through the S section, even on the curb spoon, spoon curb, sorry, how dangerous the curves can be, and especially with the inter conditions here tonight, it'll be a real test for these guys to see, combining the straight line speed, the technical aspects of the circuit, trying to maximise the lines for each corner, but also keeping the car pointing in the right direction. The first guy on our lap is Atomic 76 in his Alpine. He's just currently coming down the back straight, heading down through 130R. Now, it'll be interesting to see, will he lift here with these conditions? Are they still going to be able to take it flat out? He does take it flat out, taking a nice line through there, up to the casino triangle. I'm not too...
He's looking to keep that valid, but yeah, let's see.
Let's see the first lap. This will give us an indication of what times to expect. It's a 1:41.5. Not a bad.
Yeah, we personally have not seen much of the pace in the wet on Suzuka since the recent update for performance. Though I guess this is where we can also learn a bit about what to expect over the next 20 minutes or next 10 minutes or so and beyond, so it should be good fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some people to put an eye on here. We'll just have a look at the driver stand in AFL. He's currently in 106 points with Reverend Melvin closely behind in 82 points, so 2 of them will be one to watch out for. And another one to watch out for, Mark Wilson, just going with a 140.3, nearly a second clear of Cami at the moment, so could be on for a strong performance. He's currently sitting 5th in the Drivers' Championship, so definitely a contender. We have seen in the proper F1, you know, as we actually have a retirement on track. Is that, Jacob? Is that Crash Gaming?
Yeah, it's Crash Gaming. It looks like he sort of lost it on the exit of the second Degner curve in sector 2. It must have been just sort of lost of traction by a guess, really. But, yeah, it's a shame for him.
He will be starting P19, of course, with that. Not the start to the night he would have wanted, but yeah, still plenty of time for everybody else getting out there. And as we're saying, there's still a few drivers in with a very good contention. Have had a very good start to this season. It's mean Man Moody goes P6 with 140.41.6. He's been one of them that has showed pace at times. So not a track that in this league, at least this season, is going to be one to decide the title, but it could definitely one to watch tonight to see who maybe shapes up and puts herself right into the mix with that. Is there anybody you have your eye on tonight that you expect to be putting a strong performance in? I suppose someday, of course, your teammate in the Mercedes, MEFC Harvey, they're going top.
Yeah, I really expect a couple of drivers, you know, kiss of death of course, but Wild Dog's been, you know, struggling the last few races, but I think he's been talking about how strong he is on this track, and he's had a couple of decent wins in other leagues here as well. So I reckon he's going to be desperate to put in a great performance here. MBFC Harvey, he's been performing really well throughout the season so far. He's just been unfortunate with some incidents and some spins as well. So I'm hoping that he can, you know, get into some form and some momentum going into the next several races in the season. Also, Mark Wilson showed great promise in the pre-season race. He's carried on that momentum. I think he struggled the first couple of races, didn't he? As I say that, he's spun out on a lap. To be fair, it was invalidated, but
the commentator's curse.
It's never great for your tyres, and you know it's never great to point someone out. But it is what it is. What about yourself? Have you got anyone to keep your eye out on?
I think, well, MUFC Harvey, obviously, last week we had a bit of a disappointing race in some ways. I mean, the first 27 laps were absolutely cracking, and for them 27 laps, it was the man in the Mercedes, MUFC Harvey, who was leading the way quite strongly. I don't know, maybe Canada's quite a preferred track, maybe he just was having a storm of a night, but he's back again tonight up there. Wild Dog, like you said, he's been, maybe not to put pressure on, but he's been talking the talk, and I'm really desperate because I want him to see him walk the walk. He's had a little bit of a struggle to the start of the season. We know what pace he's got, and I would like to see him get a good result here tonight. And of course, you can never discount guys like AFL, the championship leader. He's not far off the pole time at the moment. Mark Wilson, like you say, showed good pace. He had the miss, I think it was Britain, and then had a sort of poor showing at, I believe it was France. Of course, Reverend Melvin and Wee Kami as well in there. Piero, Tomo, Hedgehog, you can never count these guys out, but
we've definitely got a few surprises this season. Like Man Moody's been showing some great performances. You've got, as you said, Reverend Melvin, who's definitely come into his own this season. He was sort of, mid-table, sometimes put in a few performances that brought him to the sort of upper echelons of tier of the then called Academy last season, but he's definitely improved this season. I think he's really adapted to the game very well, and we've just seen it there. I'm just in time. The reserve racing tonight for Red Bull. He's also someone that we don't know too much about. He should be, he should have a good race, I hope. Hope he, welcome to the league to him. And yeah, we got some good performers out there. Hope they do well and hope they enjoy the occasion as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just touching on that as well, when you're saying reserve, we've of course got I'm Just in Time making his debut here tonight, alongside Cash in 264. We've also got a return of Wuban. He's reserved a couple of times before. And Riordan, quite a strong performer actually. Somebody maybe forgot to mention there when we were talking about contenders. He had a very strong showing actually last week in Canada before it was curtailed by Codemasters' usual shenanigans. But he of course jumps into the full-time Mercedes seat you'll be pretty happy with that. He is a good addition. Of course, Digweed's having to step back, I do believe, for a little bit of time. Always sad to see, but when you've got a driver like Riordan coming in and taking his place, you won't be too disappointed, I would say.
Yeah, not complaining. Always happy to have two drivers that have committed to race every week and bring in some solid points. It's always good for momentum and good for practice as well. Get a good idea of who your competitors are and bringing in points for the championship as well, for the drivers' championship, because at the end of the day it's a team sport really. With your teammate, you can give them slipstreams now and then. You can coordinate strategies and it helps, and you give setups to your teammates as well. You can give them advice, and that's kind of what we kind of do in the Mercedes chat now and then. And so I've heard other teams having certain chats as well that help each other. And yeah, currently Williams, speaking of teams, Williams with a 1 and 2 at the moment.
I was just about to say, strong performance. Just while we're speaking of teams as well, have a quick look at constructors. Funnily enough, it is your team, the Mercedes, leading the way on 5:35. The two boys at the front, Williams, on 5:32, only 3 points behind. And then just so happens to be my team of McLaren in third place on 5:17. So the three at the front are now just under 100-point gap to the next bunch. Of course, an Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri, who again here have had their own YT. Had a very strong performance in the Alfa Romeo last week. AFL Championship leader, he's had performances, and then in the AlphaTauri, I think it's just Mean Man Moody here tonight. He has had some serious pace. I believe his teammate, this is looking bad to me, full-time commentator, and I don't even know who the second AlphaTauri is. This is terrible.
Well, it's a driver who unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. Wasn't really able to let us know their reasoning, but it's the driver's been here a few seasons before. I'm sure you'll remember him soon, but he's been here a few seasons.
I know who it is.
He's raced in the same team a few times. He's changed his name as well at one point. Mr. BX37 Pro, the second AlphaTauri driver. He's definitely one of the quicker lads in the division when he's on a good day. And we hope that we can see him racing sometime soon.
Of course, came in as a reserve initially, but with the vacancies, managed to get the full-time seat. We've seen a few of that already this season. It just shows you that even the guys like to cash in Wuban. I'm just in time that there is definite opportunities. If you show up whenever you're available, whenever there's a space, that you've got a good chance of grabbing the first seat that comes available. We've had it a few times over the divisions, just people for various reasons having to step back, and you can't have a league without the reserves, and it's a good time for these guys to come in and show it, and show why they should be in place as a full-time driver, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. We prioritise those who've been here and showed commitment and been able to race as often as they possibly can when choosing reserve drivers to take on full-time seats. So any reserve drivers that can do their best. I was just see Wuban there and in the war. And yeah, we prioritise those who have raced with us more often than others, and it's those who race cleanly, race competitively, or are respectful of drivers around them, and those that seem to enjoy the company of racing. So we're really happy that these reserves are putting in the time to race, even though they currently don't have names on the standings, but they do contribute to the constructors' points as well.
I mean, every one of them, if AlphaTauri do go and win the constructors here, I think Cashin should get a lot of fruit, at least for his contribution even tonight. You can still feel that, and yeah, like you say, it only adds to your sort of, the more you're involved, the more you show that keenness, the more likely you're going to get a race seat. We're just on board there with Drone YT, a man that showed good pace last week. Probably got a good little bit of time in that. He was showing a drifting masterclass, the sort of the standard street performance cars off Japan like to do a little bit of back end drifting. He was doing that superbly through Spoon Curve there on his flying lap, but he does go P15 at the moment. And the battle for constructors is actually looking pretty tasty here. It kind of echoes what's been happening overall. As Cashin goes P9 with a 140.1, a good start for him. His first flying lap of the night. He will maybe just have enough time to do another lap, maybe a cool down lap and then go again, but leaving it a bit late to get his first time in. But yeah, the 2 Mercedes, the 2 Williams and a McLaren all in the top 6, and Wild Dog up there in the mix, showing that he is a contender as well. He's currently on a flying lap coming through the S section. So we're getting yellow flags in sector 1.
Yeah, Japan's been a bit strange the past few releases for the game, because whenever there's an incident or a sort of slow car in the first bit of sector 1, the whole track tends to go yellow, of yellow flags. But I don't think there was much wrong there. Oh, as I say, that hedgehog's just crashed into the wall out of the hairpin there. Oh, that's a shame. That's a big shame. He must have lost on the exit heat to the wall on the left-hand side, lost his wing completely, and he's out of qualifying at 140.5.
They got a good wee shot of that on board with Wild Dog there. So P13 at best for him. Of course, the last official race winner in this division out of Belgium, Mark Wilson. We can put an asterisk into that, I think. Whether he can say the standards might say different, but I know he'll be claiming with all his heart that it was a race win for him last week. Maybe a bit fortunate with the glitch, but yeah, disappointing for Hedgehog. But we have seen from the past with him his quality pace is maybe not quite the same as his race pace. So, you know, even P13 at best on the grid, not one to count out as Wild Dog. Speaking of people not to count out, a 139.
What a lap. Wow. Yeah, I was riding on board with him through the last of the sector, and he definitely seemed in control of that car. He might be going for another lap. I'm inclined to know he's not. His ERS is slowly going up, so I think that's his qualifying done. Piero up to P3. Piero up to P3 after four laps of tyres. What a lap from him.
Down to P4 though, Mark Wilson, who's 3 tenths up, but just missing out on Wild Dog by just over a tenth. So that'll be Piero. I would imagine he'll be done, unless, of course, he's going for a back-to-back. Mark Wilson, he'll be done unless he's going back-to-back. Yes.
Yeah, MFCRB about to set up his lap now. He's next to cross line, but he's about to start a lap now. Then we've got a Williams, is that, or is that an Alpine? I think it's a Williams, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's about to start his lap too. What was that? Yes, people starting the final laps now.
That's a retirement in the pits there. Yeah, final lap starting to come in. We're gonna ride on board here with wee Cammy then for the final lap. He is a man that has got potential to set the pole time here. He's only 3 tenths off at the moment, and Track Evolution will of course be working his way coming through the S section as we ride on board right now through 6 into 7 along the Dunlop curb. Little straight into the Degmas. It's a really tricky corner, these two this year, and he has actually invalidated. So, I hope that wasn't commentator's curse. A Wild Dog goes even faster with a 138.90. He is really throwing down the gauntlet for these guys here tonight.
Yeah, he's definitely coming to his own a bit here. I really hope that he puts on a good, strong showing in the race, because he really does deserve something after a few difficult races and some tough results, and especially after showing such great pace last season near the end of it, and coming into his own on this game as well.
That's a P4 in the finale of season 4. Tremendous result, considering he joined as a reserve and started finding his pace. But a man that is challenging him for pole at the moment, potentially, MUFC Harvey. He is up on his time, or down in his time, whatever way you want to look at it. Can he put this Mercedes on pole? He crosses the line with a 138.4. That is a flyer. Oh,
what a lap from Harvey. That's incredible. Probably, that's what, 4 tenths quicker? Insane from him. But let's see who's next to the cross the line. We can be invalidated his lap.
It'll be Riordan and his teammate. He can improve to go P4.
Wow. That's great from Mercedes. I must say I'm really happy with that so far. But Mean Man Moody up to P3. What a lap from him. He's set a few solid banker laps, but nowhere near the top, and then suddenly puts in a lap quick enough to put his car on the second row so far.
So all that'll leave is Wild Dog. He's did 2 back-to-back laps, so unless he's going again, he might improve But the only other man at the moment, the championship leader, AFL, as he comes through the casino triangle, currently in P10 with a 1:39.7. He's definitely got time in the tank here as he pushes down around the final corner, across the line, and a 1:39.4 does improve, but only slightly up to P8 though. Wild Dog.
Yeah, he might feel he could have done more.
Wild Dog he is on a lap, but it is a slow lap, and that'll be qualifying complete.
Wow, that was a great qualifying lap with some close times, and then just what a lap from the pollster there. That was definitely a strong performance from Harvey. I must say I'm pretty happy as a Mercedes driver, but yeah.
Harvey showing that it wasn't a one-off bit of pace that he showed us last week in Canada. A 1:38.4 gets him pole here for round 6 in Japan. Wild Dog the Ferrari, a man he's been desperate for a good result, and he's certainly in a prime position for it here tonight. Gets P2, 4 tenths back on MUFC Harvey. Of course, it is inter conditions. We don't know maybe what the setups have been like, what the track evolution seemed to have a big effect, and then Mean Man Moody. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. The grandfather of the group, I like to view him as. You know, he's the old reliable guy that just sets in decent laps, and he's been finding good pace. He gets P3. Mark Wilson, Riordan, Mikami, Piero, AFL, Reverend Melvin, and Tomo Tip-Top, I believe that was, are the top 10. Of course, will we see dry weather here in the race? Gives a very interesting option for strategies at the moment, and it is dry weather. So I want you to, I want you to put yourself. You're in MUFC Harvey's shoes. What do you go strategy wise? What would you be your call at this moment?
I can see some safety cars happening purely because of the nature of the track, and I reckon go on the longer tyre, the sort of longer lasting tyre to start off with. I reckon maybe start on the mediums just so that you're not compromised too much at the start. Start on the mediums, and then you'd be able to judge whether you can go on to softs later on in the race, and if there's a safety car early on, you can take the hards to the end, and you'll be able to be comfortably ahead. That's my sort of recommendation, because if you start on the medium tyre, you get the option of the 2 different tyres, whereas if you start on softs, you're kind of eking them out as long as you possibly can, hoping for a safety car, and you don't really want to be in that position, especially when you're battling with other cars.
There you go. That's why we bring the tier 1 drivers in, folks. This is the man with the knowledge. He's got banks of experience on me, and maybe just a tenth of pace. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Mediums would be for me as well. Gives you that, like you say, that bit of versatility. You can sort of play it by ear with the safety cars. I would be surprised if we see a couple of guys maybe towards the back banking on the hards, just to spice things up. We have seen it again throughout the different tiers. Big shout out to, of course, a man in tier 2 that loves to do that 4-star. He'll be sitting probably if he is watching them on, but it isn't actually. It's a mix of purely softs and mediums.
He's gone with the mediums, Mr. Harvey, and Wild Dog and Mean Man Moody behind him on the softs, trying to capitalise on a good start to try and get an early sort of bit of pace on the leader in front, I suppose, and then 4 cars behind him, Mark Wilson, Yes, Harvey's just put it into the wall now.
That's not a good way to start your formation lap. And it won't be good for his tyres either, because he will be disqualified.
No, he's disqualified.
So he's going to be on the grid with cold mediums.
That is not good for him, because also, as he was on the grass just before he got disqualified, his tyres will also have a bit of dirt and gravel on them as he starts the race, because if you go off track and if you sort of struggle to if you don't get that debris off the tyres before you line up in the formation lap, they will be on your tyres when you start the race, which is not good.
He's going to have a really compromised launch off the grid, and he's obviously a run down to turn 1. Brilliant news if your name is Wild Dog K9 or Mean Man Moody, of course. Not so good if your name's MUFC Harvey or an affiliate of the Mercedes team, shall we say. But of course, we did see the recommended tyre strategy there, as the game suggests, about lap 10 for a soft onto hards to the end, and about lap 14-15 for the mediums onto the hards. Of course, the beautiful Japanese weather could have a play on that, and the man that stole the show last week might also have something to say about that. Anything can happen in racing, that's why we love it, of course. Interesting to see as well, Wild Dog just obviously taking over the lead of the formation lap. He's just gunning it here. He's not too worried about bunching up the pack, and he's all black helmet with the number 69. He's well known for. I would have thought he would have went for number 9 personally, but you know.
Yeah, the guy has some taste in numbers. Let's just say that.
Mean man,
very unique.
Mean man with the MP3 number 46, of course, and Mark Wilson rounding up behind them. Now, interesting run down to turn 1 here. Very interesting first corner. Let's hope they keep it clean, but let's hope we see some moves.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the sort of latter parts of the start and the sort of the rear end, I suppose. And I'll keep you updated as things go on. But I believe, feel free to take it away, Mr. Freefall.
We will do. We will jump on board just to get a little POV view on Mean Man Moody himself. I think it'll be an interesting little bit just to see the lights. And as we speak of the lights, they are to come on, and they've just went. They've not even came on. MEFC Harvey getting a horrible start with them. Cold, dirty tyres dropping all the way back to P6, and Wild Dog leads him through it into turn 1. Mean Man Moody short behind in P2 with Riordan on the mediums. He's getting the jump on Mark Wilson up to P3. Wee Cammy as well, battling with his teammate through the S's, and we've got a first retirement of the night already. You see anything of that, Jacob?
It looked like there was a bit of contact between the two of the cars. I couldn't quite catch who it was, but it was a bit scrappy at the start from the likes of Crash Gaming, who's just spun out there on the exit of one of the corners in the S's. It seemed to be sort of a bit scrappy, trying to avoid contact as much as possible between a lot of drivers, and it just seemed like it was a bit overcautious. As we see Drone and I'm Just in Time trying to battle it out between the two Dagners, but I'm Just in Time gets ahead just for the time being.
Got ahead just in time then, you could say. Oh, I had to get it in at one point. MEFC Harvey, the pole man, down to P6. He is starting to close back up on wee Cammy. He's got a lot of work to do here. He's sort of spoiled all the hard work he did on the absolute banger of the pole lap. But
I could say that there seems to have been a bit of contact between Drone and Just in Time at the back there on the exit of Spoon. Oh, and Harvey just about taps the back of wee Cammy. His tyres seem to be struggling to get up to temperature after disqualified from the formation lap, as Riordan seems to be going wide on the exit at the final corner. And Mark Wilson trying to keep his nose there just to make sure that, you know, Riordan is kept on his toes. He doesn't want to give him any sort of easy battle. He just wants to make it as tough as possible for the car in front. As Just in Time, unfortunately, gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Crash Gaming also retires from the race out the exit of the hairpin. Mean Man Moody going wide. Oh, Wilson! It's really scrappy here at the start of the race. No, you don't know what's going to happen, but it's just helping Wild Dog get that much further ahead on his soft tyres.
And the Dunlop curve, it's a horrible enough turn at times, you know, late on in the race especially, going round there yourself, never mind trying to go free wide, but managed to keep it out of each other's car, keep, you know, the damage to minimum. But Riordan, what a launch he's had from the start, up 3 positions already on P2. Of course, this is all just helped Wild Dog, like you say, at the front, 2.6 seconds clear at the moment. He'll be, I would say he'll be relatively happy at the moment. A big shout out though to the two biggest winners, I would say, at the moment. Hedgehog up 9 positions to P7, and Spider Rob up 8 positions to P10. They'll also be happy with their start. Of course, the biggest loser, MEFC Harvey. He currently actually finds himself behind Hedgehog. I know he was battling with, I think it was Mark Wilson earlier on, so whether he's had a little spin. And interesting that as well. I'm Just in Time and Drone having a little come together. 5-second penalty for a collision. It's not very often we see that being actually issued by the game. That's normally some left to the stewards afterwards, so I'm not too sure what happened there.
It must have been some sort of unfortunate contact. I'm sure something will pop up in the steward's office. But Hedgehog, definitely cautious. Oh, it's Riordan spun into the S's section. What a shame that is for him. He's going to have to sort of edge that car as Hedgehog and Harvey battling side by side through the S's. MEFC Harvey getting the better of him as Hedgehog backs out and lets him past. I was just about to say, Hedgehog being very cautious through the opening section, managed to get the better of the other drivers around him, as he's made up plenty of positions, as you said as well. Being able to fight with the sort of, into the top 6, top 7 positions. You might want to keep it cautious as well, as he sort of keeps on the back of MEFC Harvey. He's shown plenty of pace in the session so far.
Yeah, bit of a nightmare there, just while that was happening. Riordan spinning again on the hot tyres. Man at the front though, Wild Dog of course, 4.2 seconds clear already. He is in the softs compared to Mark Wilson's mediums, but when you've got that tyre advantage, you've got the take advantage, you've got to push that while the ball's in your court, so to say. 3 pairs so far. I'm just in time, Drone YT and Tomo Tip Top at the back. Tomo and just in time going for the softs, Drone going for the hards, so I don't know, they could have potential to get to the end.
Yeah, just in time's not having the greatest races. He's retired on the track there. It's a shame. He hit twice, was it? Once or twice, and he just kept spinning through the S section. Might have been a problem with the setups, or a problem with, just trying to struggle to adapt to the track. But it's a shame for him. Hope he sort of sticks with it and comes back again next week stronger.
Yeah, just keep on out. Just on board now at MEFC Harvey. Reverend Melvin got the move done on AFL into turn 1, and that invited MEFC Harvey coming in. He's got a good run through the Dunlop curve towards the Degg. That's a bit of a risky place to make a move, but could be lining up a move through the hairpin as Spider Rob has retired on track. That is through the Dunlop, and that will be a full course safety car.
Yeah, right decision from Codemasters there, from the coding. Yeah, car was parked right on the track, lost its wheel, and it didn't seem to be in a very safe position to continue racing, so it's probably good for the likes of Wild Dog, the gap that he's pulled to, reeled. He's not having the best of times as he's gone off the track there, but Wild Dog, it's probably, if he pits, it's probably a great time for him to go onto the hards, but he might be a bit gutted with losing that big gap that he'd already pulled. I've noticed that Wild Dog, he definitely excels in clean air. He's really one of the drivers that when he's got a clean air in front of him, as he does decide to pit, he's definitely one of the quicker drivers in the division.
Absolutely, yes. He's got pure pace when it comes to his qualifying pace and his time. Oh, I can't even speak anymore. Time trial pace is up there as he opts to go for the mediums. Maybe going for a 2-stop set of mediums later on in the race, perhaps. Maybe even a set of softs towards the end, potentially. See how that comes back on.
The other drivers around him have decided not to pit, and he's going to be coming out into around other medium drivers. We're on 4-lap old mediums. I can't see this benefiting him much. I think this might have been, he might have been put onto the wrong tyres, but I'm not sure if this will work out for him. I think he's kind of lost a few positions there, but you never know what can happen. We'll see, because he's definitely one of the quicker drivers. He just got to get through a few quick drivers ahead of him, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, he will have a good pace as the laps go on compared to, Man would do Reverend Melbourne AFL with the older softs, but 4 laps isn't a great deal with the mediums, and especially now if he's going to have the battle his way through his pack, he's just going to scrub them tyres off a little bit and lose a bit of it. Interestingly though, Wuban and Kami both pitting for the hards. Riordan and Tomo Tiptop also seem to be going for the mediums, so maybe Jeff, up to his usual shenanigans, telling a mixed batch strategies. We know we know Jeff has got a very good relationship in your household, not with yourself of course, but with the other racer within the house. I refer to, of course, Hungary Season 4. Watch that back. That's a good little reaction.
Yes.
Sorry, Nathan. Just had to get it in there, pal.
Yeah, for a bit of context, basically, I think it was raining majority of the race, and I think it was drying up, or was the other way? Yeah, it was drying up, and it suggested to put Nathan onto the wets. I think it was the other way around, something like that. Just didn't work out at all, and lost in a potential podium. Sorry, a guaranteed podium as he probably refers to as, but not for everyone.
It's not everybody's for the big time, Jacob. That's it, we've got some diving into the pits. The softs run out of Mean Man Moody and AFL.
It's definitely bold from them. It seems to be a very reactionary response there, because if they would have, ideally when you pit under the safety car, you want to pit in the first lap possible. Otherwise, you know, once the pack is bunched up, you lose so many more positions than you would if you pit when the safety car first comes out.
Compare that track position to Wild Dog. 6-7 positions down, and interestingly, Mean Man Moody opting for the softs. That's a left field choice. I'll come out and say that straight there. That's not something I would have expected, but you know, bold choice.
There were some accusations about some safety car pit stops last time out in Belgium.
Of course.
With Hedgehog going onto the medium as well, it was pouring down the rain, but he pulled it off. So, you know, we'll let the drivers do what they do, and you know, I'm sure they know what they're doing, because they're the ones that have all the information about the weather and strategies and the race conditions. So, I suppose let's see what they can do.
It'll be a good little benchmark to see, maybe compare him to the likes of Atomic, Mikami, who will be going hards to the end. He'll have to go, starting on the softs, he'll have to pit for a set of mediums, I would imagine. Maybe about lap 60, maybe even before. I suppose the only advantage is that he's going to have plenty of tyre life in both sets of his remaining tyres. So he can really just put the foot down a bit, but it's all very good having, fresh tyres, having a bit of pace. It's another thing overtaking.
Tell you what, as I think you just mentioned it there, but Wuban and Wikami in very good positions here, because they won't need to pit again. The cars in front of them, barring including Wild Dog there, I can't see them taking those tyres to the end of the race. It'll be a big stretch for Wild Dog, but if he can manage his tyres and get out of dirty air as quick as possible, and take it easy on the corners as the safety car comes in this lap. Do you want to take us through the race restart?
Yeah, we'll get on board with Mark Wilson for the race restart. The safety car is coming in. He's going to go for quite a late entrance, but or a late restart, but he is away. Pulling out at... Wait, is that a spin?
Hedgehog. Oh, yeah, Hedgehog's spot. Oh, it's a big shame. He's lost so many positions there. He's dropped to 10th place. There's a bit of a strange glitch though. Oh dear, I don't know what's going on there. He's lagging all over the place for me.
Yeah, for me, he said he jumped up. He jumped up a position over Wild Dog. I thought actually it was heartbreak for Wild Dog.
Well, Wuban's been spun out. There was a bit of contact going into the S's between himself and I believe it was Wikami, both on the hard tyres, hoping to make it to the end. As Wikami nearly loses the rear going up the long Dunlop curve. It might have been a bit of aggressive driving from either one of the drivers, or sort of, both trying to fight for position. But we'll see how it is in the stewarding after the race and how they make their case.
Beautiful move by Tomo tipped up there through the second Digma, reordering, getting a little bit loose on the exit, and Tomo just excellent reaction just to shift that car to the right and get by him for P13. Nice little gap there at the rear of the pack at the moment. One thing to note as well, 15 runners left in this race. Even if you're having a bad race, get your car to the end, guaranteed a point. So
exactly.
Any of the drivers that are listening, keep that in mind, and just, anything can happen, I suppose.
Yeah, in CRL we give points to the top 15 drivers with a sort of custom point system to help, include more drivers in the title fight amongst each other. As Miami FCR struggles through the Casio Triangle, through the chicane, and he's lost quite a bit of time to Reverend Melvin ahead of him. He just needs to keep his head, keep relaxed, because the car in front is on soft tyres. He will have to pit in the next few laps, so we'll have to see how Harvey reacts and controls his pace.
Absolutely. Of course, for him, the longer Melvin stays out, it could actually benefit him and get the advantage from maybe DRS, but it's DRS worth different. And Cashin seems to have had an incident further down the field. That's a front wing going.
Yeah, he lost it on the first corner of the S's and sort of lost it on the exit. Must have been just been on throttle a bit too earlier and too, aggressively, and it just cost him that quite a lot. That's a big shame for him because he is on the softs, but he should be able to take hard to the end and hope for a safety car, I suppose.
Yeah, 7 lap holds off, so maybe just a little early. And we have a retirement. That is a strange one, actually. I think we just caught the end of that there. It's as if he's went straight on at the hairpin, facing backwards towards the track. I wonder if there was some contact there that I maybe missed, but I've never seen anything like that before. Maybe another one for the stewards, but maybe just an unfortunate spin. And speaking of unfortunate spins, Atomic losing it through the second apex off the spoon curb. We know it can be a tricky corner, but especially on the hards, maybe struggling a little bit for grip. But he's managed to get away without any damage. This is a nice little close back here. Hedgehog Drone and Mean Man Moody all going through 130R together.
Yeah. We've also got Wild Dog slowly gaining on him, trying to do his best. What's happened there? Oh, Tomo's made a move on AFL on the exit of the Casio Triangle, trying to use the ERS's advantage. AFL keeping cool, saving his ERS for a later time. Just goes a bit wide, gets a 3-second penalty for a third warning. That is a shame, but he is still ahead. That's the main thing for now.
Yeah, just right. Oh, and Hedgehog has spun it through the S section on the second left-hander. Just.
Back on the race line, it's a bit. Hopefully, didn't cause too much of a distraction to the cars behind him, but I was hoping he can recover from his race from that spin. Cause that's not great. Not great for him.
But just right what you mentioned there, go through the penalties. MEFC Harvey on 3 seconds, as is Reverend Melvin, Drone YT, and Tomo Tiptop with Riordan on 6 seconds. MEFC Harvey up there at the moment. Of course, that 3 seconds can be a massive difference come the end of the race. So that might be something to keep an eye on. Of course, we've still got a long way to go. We're only a third of a way through this race distance at the moment. It's Mean Man Moody. A little bit of connection issue it seems here between the two drivers, but hopefully it's not too big an impact. Going side by side with Drone at YT through 130R. And also take a wider line.
He's going to try and dive down the inside. Drone leaves the room. That was very good racing from both of them. Drone leaving the room on the inside of the entry to the Casio Triangle to the chicane. Mean Man Moody, very opportunistic, sees the gap, goes for it. Good move from him.
Brilliant.
Oh, it's Reverend Melvin pits. Yeah.
Pits from the softs onto the mediums, so he'll be. I wonder if he reckons he can take them to the end.
It's definitely possible. It was one of the strategies I was talking about before the race, and it's that Mercedes that sort of spun in past.
MEFC Harvey on the Dunlop curve has had a little spin. That promotes Wild Dog up to P2. Not a race he would have wanted.
Every lap that goes by is making Wild Dog look like a genius fitting onto those mediums there. He's definitely making the most of the tyres and really having strong pace. Slowly been catching Mark Wilson in the front on 5-lap older tyres. Definitely not giving him any sort of resting minutes, because as soon as you're into a rhythm here in Japan, as we saw earlier with Wild Dog as he was pulling a gap in the front, you never know what can happen. You just sort of get into a groove and you just start, set quick laps one after the other.
The only advantage Mark Wilson does have is, of course, there is another safety car and another option for a free pit stop. It'll maybe counteract the point I'm saying, but Mark Wilson's ERS management has been, I would say, leaps and bounds ahead of Wild Dog. Wild Dog currently only, if it'll refresh, he's only on 5%, and he's constantly just every little 10% he gets, just using it immediately. Not got much saved up to actually get the move done, but I suppose he's maybe just looking to close the gap and wait for Mark to make the pit stops and try and make his move maybe later on in the race, which, fair enough. He's obviously made a good call going into the mediums. He's made us maybe look a little bit silly, but we'll see how that works out from his Drone gets past his teammate of AFL through to turn 1. Riordan's on the back of them in a nice little 3-car train coming through the A section at the moment. Penalties are starting to rack up here slowly though. We have seen how big impact that can have on race results, so definitely something to keep in mind at the moment. But our front two currently don't have any penalties at all. And MEFC Harvey 3 seconds in P3. A man to shout out with though, Maverick up in P4. I've not seen much from him this race. But he's running a pretty good one up there in P4 at the moment. Still yet to stop, of course, but
yeah, he seems to have avoided most of the sort of spins and carnage through safety car restart and, you know, the first lap as well. He seems to be very comfortable on those 10-lap old mediums as well, setting some solid laps as he goes. And he's, you know, just sort of keeping a relatively, yeah, as I said, comfortable gap to the cars in front and behind. He's not got anyone that can really pressure him for another couple laps. I mean, Mahmoudi possibly might catch him soon, but with the ERS that he's got, it could be difficult to pass. You know, with a full tank of battery charge, whereas Min Mahmoudi down in 30%. You know, just trying to do his best to get the laps in and, you know, capitalise on his fresher tyres.
Yeah, brilliant ERS management by Maverick there. He's up 7 positions from the start. To do that with 90% of your ERS still in the tank, incredible. Another man that's been up plenty of positions is Drone, up 10 into P7. He's currently in a little battle here with Reord and his teammates AFL, and the Ruban getting up another penalty, slowly starting to add up now. Of course, we did see quite a few penalties last week in Canada. I think it would have a big impact on the result. Just to touch on that as well, with the calendar, of course, race being null and voided. The driver also, they're not getting a break week, are they, Jacob? I'll let you walk through this.
Basically, the rate with the Tier 4 admins, we decided that we'd, you know, re-race Canada in the break week, which will be happening in about, I believe it's 2 weeks time. Next week.
It's next week.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, next week. Correcting me. Appreciate it. So yeah, they'll be racing Canada next week, and then the week after we've swapped out the original plan of racing China for the newly introduced Portimao circuit, which will be done for all the divisions on the first week of October. So it's definitely going to be an interesting addition, and the first time Cyril will race there, first time any sort of driver here will be racing it in Cyril as well. I guess it kind of is a given, but I'm sure everyone will appreciate it because it was a community vote. As MEFC RV hits for soft start, Maverick makes a mistake because it's overtaken by Min Mahmoudi on those soft tyres.
12 lap old softs against 12 lap old mediums, sorry, against 6 lap old softs. I don't know if there'd been much between them, to be fair.
Maverick spun there. He took too much of the curb on the inside, going around that left-hander. He's lost plenty of time in relation to the drivers around him. He's dropped all the way back down into 9th, possibly 10th places as soon as Atomic. Oh, he does back out a little bit, but he's that's a big shame for him. He was definitely in control of his pace there.
It's that commentator's curse. Have we done that? Oh, MEFC Harvey, a bit of an audacious move down the inside of Atomic there. Maybe a bit of hard racing, but he did make it stick, and it seemed both cars have got away without any damage. EFL and Drone, the 2 Alfa Romeos, battling out again for current lap P6. And MEFC Harvey as well, just to note, on the pit stop going for the softs. Now, he only took the mediums 12 laps, so I very much doubt he's going to take the softs 15. We never know. Mark Wilson from the lead though is in for the pits, so we'll see what strategy he opts to go for. Will he go for another set of softs, or will he go for the hards?
He may come out in that battle between AFL, Drone, Melvin, and possibly MSC Harvey as well, because that's the kind of gaps that we expect on this track, although he does have a comfortable pocket right next to him right now, so it depends on how far ahead he is of Riordan and Co.
And he is out on the hard, so MEFC Harvey on the same, well, relatively similar pitting lap going for the softs versus Mark Wilson's hard. Mark will easily make it to the end now. So Harvey's got to put his foot down a little bit here. He does pick up his 3-second penalty as well, which will dampen his spirits a little bit, but he'll more than likely have to stop again unless he is a tire saving god.
Yeah, just on board now with Melvin and the 2 Alfa Romeos ahead of him. He's on a quicker tyre than Drone, on 3 lap old mediums. You've got MEFC Arby behind him. He's definitely got the pace to sort of catch up with this pack here, because in a DRS train you do tend to lose a bit of pace to your rivals in clean air, because you are having to brake earlier and avoid contact, and despite the DRS, which on this track doesn't get you that much over the course of the lap, you will be looking to pass these 2 cars ahead of him, as that seems to be a Aston Martin of Wuban that spun at the hairpin. it's a bit of a shame that he's sort of running his own race, unfortunately, as it may seem. At the moment, but yeah, it's a shame for him.
No damage, so he is still in this, and of course anything can still happen. Still in the points, of course, as well. 14 cars still in this race at the moment, all of them of which will get a minimum of 2 points. Of course, the bonus fastest lap point for somebody whoever gets the fastest lap within the top 10, I suppose. I could have worded that. You can tell English isn't my prime subject at school, wasn't it? But MUFC RV on them fresh softs getting the fastest lap at 1:32.6, and he's starting to meet a little bit of traffic here.
Yeah, Drone and Melvin going side by side into the first corner, but Drone makes is comfortably ahead. But then MUFC Harvey, he tries to make the overtake, but he spins on exit. He's lost it and gone into the wall there and lost his front wing. What a shame that is. He lost it entirely from what I saw on his own, and just it's a big shame for him. It's not looking like a great day for his car, because he's going to have to limp that car around the dreadful S's with no front wing and the rest of the lap as well.
It's right in the bottom there. It was maybe a little ambitious move, but you know, if you make it stick, you look like an absolute hero. Of course, he's got tremendous pace, so you expect him to fancy his chances for getting the overtakes done, but just a little unfortunate. I think you're right, yeah, he did just spin on himself. Not how he'd have wanted his nights going, especially after qualifying, how you'd have looked at that grid, thought this had set up, this is a prime opportunity for him here. But unfortunate as it is. Back on board with Reverend Melvin though, he's looking to get a run on Drone into 130R, backs out with it pretty early though. Of course he'll be seeing that red light of Drone YT in front of him flashing, thinking I've got the ARS advantage, I don't need to do anything risky here, I'll get him on the straight when I deploy my battery on exit. And that's exactly what he's going to do here. DRS as well will be wide open.
Yeah, Melvin's been here a few seasons, he knows how to overtake around certain tracks in CRL, and he knows to be patient, wait for the right opportunity and be safe with your overtakes. He's definitely done really well there, and he's been very very comfortable running in P7 now. He's going to try and close in on AFL and get past him as soon as he can with 4 lap quicker tyres.
A man we haven't actually spoken about for a while as well. All this battle and all this action going on in the mid-pack of the field. Wild Dog K9. 12-second lead. We were sort of maybe guessing him with that early pit stop.
Yeah. However, there is a bit of cloud coming in. Is it going to rain? We've seen it before in the game where, you know, it's bright and sunny for the majority of the race, and then it's sort of probably about 2/3 of the way in, you see some clouds, and final few laps it does tend to get a bit wet on track. With a bit of rain in the session already, will we see some rain at the end just to close it off as a little rain sandwich?
It's highly possible. There's contact between the Alfa Romeo VFL and Reverend Melvin down at the run up to 130R. We're on board with Drone YT there. Reverend Melvin moving to the right hand side to get a move done, and AFL, it sort of looked like a little coming together. I don't know if there was any nastiness or any intent in it, but it seemed as if they both sort of slid off into the wall. I don't think there's actually any damage because they're both not at the pit, so whether it's maybe a little latency there, but that looked nasty from what I've seen.
Well, let's hope that they're both okay and they can both carry on racing to the same standard that they have been so far, because they've definitely been, you know, Drone's definitely doing a great job to keep the pace, keep with Melvin, especially on those hard tyres. He's trying to go and keep up with him. It could be that Melvin's got damage. He does go a bit wide onto the gravel, into the grass, and spins off the track. Oh, it's such a shame that. It's a shame how often we've seen that. You know, but you know, these drivers want to overtake. They're definitely competitive. They're all trying to do their best. And yeah, it's a shame that he's come off as worse as he has.
You know, it's the thing about commentating this tier. I love it because you get such brilliant racing. You know, you get some guys that are early doors and they're racing, they're league racing, enjoyment for it. You know, they're starting to learn, they're really keen on that, and they maybe go for moves that a lot of you guys would think, no, I'll just wait in behind for a couple of laps. They go for battles in some amazing places, and we've seen it over the course of the season, like some of the moves these guys can stick on in this tier. but at the same time when watching it, I don't want to watch any of them because the commentator's bad luck is so real. It
I'd
just
like to
upsets me a little.
because of two things here. Mean Man Moody spun and hit into the wall just the final bit of the 130R straight. Also, it's just raining, so Mean Man Moody picking to fix his front wing also goes onto the intermediates. It's just definitely going to be spicing up here because Wild Dog onto those 12 lap, on his 12 lap all mediums is in prime position here to finish the race. Commentator's curse upheld, hopefully not. Is in prime position here to go up to those inters and have a commanding lead at the front for the end of the race.
Yeah, speaking of pit stops, Atomic, it is heartbreak for you, my friend. He's just came into the pits and put a fresh set of mediums on.
No.
Hedgehog, who I believe has left the session. I don't know, are you able to invite him back, or it might need to be myself?
Try.
Spider,
I'll try and get him in.
Spider Rob's out. If you can't get him in, I might need to just quickly send an invite. But this, wow! Oh, Atomic on the fresh mediums has spun off through the S section and lost his front wing. The track is looking very, very wet.
It is very wet indeed. This game we've seen how quick it goes from one state to the other, from dry to wet and vice versa. I'm not sure. I really don't believe that he's decided to go on those mediums out of choice. I think the game is just sort of done its usual antics and not put him onto the right tyres. But Hedgehog must be kicking himself because his connection has not been great the past couple of weeks, as he could have capitalised on pitting early at the right time, and he's lost plenty of time now because of the disconnect.
Wild Dog into the pits for the Inters. Tomo tip top in P2. He's had a brilliant comeback actually from this race. Didn't have a good qualifying, and Mark Wilson as well in for the Inters. Riordan AFL. They're all filing in now. Where will Mean Man Moody come out through? He's coming through. Is it the Casio Triangle, the Casino Triangle? I get my words jumbled up here. Hey.
Maverick's just spun, struggling on these tyres now. He's spun into the wall and he's going to have to replace his wing after all he's done so far. It's such dang, he's shown such good pace. This is definitely shaking up the order quite drastically, isn't it?
It's really put things on its head. And like you were saying earlier, we see how quick the dampness can come down in this track. It's really, really shaking up. Mean Man Moody there, a big winner though, but Wild Dog, brilliant in-lap from him, I must say, on the older mediums on a damp track. Kept it calm, kept it clean, got in, got the Inters, and he's still holding that gap at the front. I don't have what the actual time is at the moment because Codemasters is Codemasters and likes to remove our intervals from time to time, but he had a solid in-lap there and he's still looking in a good position.
He's definitely kept a strong and commanding lead, ahead of the cars behind him. Tomo definitely in a very, very good position from where he started. Where has he started? He was, he was down in P10 at the start of the race. He's now up in P2. What a race from him so far. Mark Wilson getting in position. Who's that? Someone's gone slow in sector 1 and 2. Seems to be a bit of a loss of traction, but Atomic now onto the inters, hoping to make it to the end of the race and grab a good point. We'll see. Hopefully Hedgehog is back in the session, I believe, and I'm not sure what's going on with him because that's such a shame we can't get back.
He is back.
I believe he is back.
Mark Wilson is having a little look into turn 1 here. Less than a tenth set between him and Tomo in the Alpine. Does think to back out. He was taking the tight line, but forces maybe, letting Tomo know that I'm still here. You've got to take that wider line. Tried to get the opportunity through the second part. I suppose it is turn 2. It's the second part of turn 1, but gonna have to settle behind through the S. There's not really much chance of overtaking in the dry, never mind in these conditions. But a cracking battle for P2 and P3, and a man that'll be very interested in the battle is of course Mean Man Moody, not far behind.
AFL and Reverend Melvin, sorry to interrupt. AFL and Reverend Melvin side by side through the first 2 corners, the first corner and a half, I suppose. AFL getting the better of Melvin outside the exit. This definitely seems to be where the drivers who have made adjustments to their setup, preparing for the wet weather, will definitely come out on top, because it's definitely one of the tracks where a wet setup is vastly different to a dry setup due to the nature of the corners and how the high of downforce you really need.
Absolutely, this way. I wonder if there is a few drivers, maybe, you know, maybe could we see a resurgent MUFC Harvey? He's had really good pace and quality in the conditions. Maybe he's got a slightly more downforce here. Would that be the appropriate word? Set up.
Let's go with it.
We'll go with that. Maybe he could be one to watch here for a late charge through the field. Little update on penalties. Wild Dog, Mean Man Moody, Hedgehog and the Maverick. The only ones still running not to get a penalty with Mark Wilson, AFL, Cashin, Wuban, Drone and Atomic all in 3 seconds, leaving MUFC Harvey, Reverend Melvin, Riordan and Toma Tip Top all in 6 seconds. Shout out to Hedgehog actually, despite his connection. The man has been tremendous when it came to penalties so far this season. He's continuing that streak. He lost it a little bit in Canada, but that wasn't an official race. We'll forgive him for that. And it can make the oppositions over the course of a season. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely one of the drivers who's more consistent, more mature, let's say, in his driving style. You know, not to say, you know, that other drivers drive immaturely, but he's definitely one who's more cautious going into corners. He doesn't take many risks when he doesn't need to. And, you know, his pace shows that even though he does take those risks, he's got the pace to be at the front. But with unfortunate circumstances like he was, you know, he ended up in earlier today, he does tend to get caught in certain situations that he can't really help himself with.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but he's got, like you say, a nice consistent driving, and I'm sure he'll be back up near the front again, as will Maverick. He's a tremendous pace, tremendous average pace over the course of the race. Just a few unlucky incidents. But somebody who...
Someone tipped up and Mark Wilson might be sorry, it might be worth looking at them. As Mark Wilson goes down the inside of the chicane, leaves the... Thomas left the room, but he does back out, trying to get a better exit. Thomas does have the ERS to hold him off, but Mark Wilson might struggle with the exit. He might try and commit more to turn 1, but we'll just wait and see.
Thomas took currently 6 seconds of penalties to Mark Wilson's 3, but the man in P4 must be rubbing his hands at the moment. He's got no penalties, he's only a second and a half back, and he is closing in rapidly. We could see a nice little freeway dogfight for the final 2 podium positions as it stands. Wild Dog again, we haven't mentioned him much, but he's having, what a drive he's having here today. Currently out front, 10 seconds clear, although that gap seems to be shrinking very slightly, but he's not using much in the ERS. He's maybe, you know, I can't blame him.
Imagine he's driving sort of very cautiously, trying to not get anyone who's making his stupid sort of... Oh, he is trying to get past this back marker of Atom at the moment. That might be a bit of a some doubt for him, but Atomic, you know, hopefully does get out of the way and lets Wild Dog race on ahead. Even though there is ghosting, it could still affect his view of the racing line and curbs. Let's hope that that clears up soon, because Tomo is slowly closing down. He's gained a second on him in the last sector. That's quite hefty, especially if you're trying to keep a comfortable distance to the drivers behind you.
Yeah, that's only 6 laps to go, sorry, after once we cross the start-finish line again. Mean Man Moody, though, has closed down that gap to, he was just under a second there, lost it slightly through Spoon getting a poorer exit down towards 130R, but he's definitely in the mix here with these, the Alpine and the Williams of Tomo and Mark for the podium positions. And a strong performance from him, quality, and Atomic taking up a 3 second. Oh, apologies, I thought that was, I'm getting confused with my Alpines here. Oh, it's too much for me, this, Jacob. You'll need to get a replacement, and I'm not up for this anymore.
No, we've got to keep you the best in the business.
I'm getting old. Bring back Danny Mac.
Oh,
but Reverend Melvin, the DFL, continuing along. They are 23 lap dogfight for P6. They're back at it again. 2 guys that have showed good pace this season.
Both have similar levels of ERS, but they're both rinsing as much as they can. Melvin just trying to go around the outside, but backs out at the last second. Takes a big curb, very cautious on the throttle. AFL very commanding, you know, trying to take a wide line, trying to get the best grip as you can, avoiding the curbs. because as soon as you touch a curb here, you gotta lift off. There's not much chance of going full throttle on the curb.
Oh,
That's
Tomo
Tomo!
tip top!
No! He's lost on the edge of the happy. That's a safety car. That is a big shame, and that's Wild Dog's 9-second lead gone. Oh, what a shame that is, and Mark Wilson's going to be gutted because the cars behind him are going to start closing up as he's got the penalties that could drop him a few positions. Me and Man Moody's going to be brilliant. That's brilliant for him because he's going to be. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to wait to see how it happens, but he's in a very good position here to do well. And also, Hedgehog must be absolutely happy with that because he's now going to be able to close that gap ahead to Reverend Melvin and be in contention for a fight, especially with the penalties for the cars ahead. That's great for Hedgehog.
Hedgehog will be rubbing his knuckles and shaking his tail because he's got a golden ring full of opportunity here.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
but yeah, like you say, you know, Mark Wilson, 3 seconds of penalties, Ray Orland 6 seconds of penalties, AFL 3 seconds of penalties, and Reverend Melvin 6 seconds of penalties. Hedgehog and the Maverick are right back in this year. Maybe not for the win easily, but in for a good podium, you know, top 4, top 5 position here. We've seen it so much this season throughout. I know from watching, you know, Tier 4 and commentating every week, and well, most weeks, and of course racing in Tier 2, the amount of times we've seen a 3 or 4 lap shootout at the end of the race has been
I suppose it's good for entertainment, isn't it? For the circumstances it provides, provides it. Probably not the best situation to be in, but it does make it interesting for viewers. Because, yeah, as Murphy points out in the comments section, Hedgehog is definitely a big winner for this safety car, and also mentioned that it may finish lap 26, so we could see a 2-lap dogfight at the end of the race, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on how this all develops.
I think you'll be right with that. I think we'll have, well, lap 24 safety car. It'll definitely go for another lap 25, and I would say it'll be in that because I believe it's hard coded into the game to give us at least two laps of racing at the end after a safety car, so I believe it will be in at the end of lap 25, of course the next lap.
Say that, but I hate to contradict you, but there was a race in another league that had a safety car in the penultimate lap. So 3 laps before the end, and it came in on the penultimate lap. I think it was in Canada as well, and you never know what can happen with this game. It can be very consistently inconsistent. So we'll see how it goes.
That is the best description of this game I've ever heard. Consistently inconsistent.
Oh, it's a game we all love and hate at the same time. It really is.
Absolutely, we love to hate it, I suppose. It's it can make you. At times it can make you want to pull your hair out. At times it can make you want to celebrate into the night when you get a little bit of luck your way. I suppose there'll be mixed emotions here, like there is every race with these guys as well. Wild Dog, I feel sorry for him because he's had such a commanded performance up to this point. You know, 10 seconds, 9 seconds clear at the front. Nobody's really, you know, MEFC Harvey's had the pace to touch him, but maybe not the consistency. And do you know what? I'm almost tempted to give it now. My driver of the day, I've got to give it to Wild Dog. I know it's early,
yeah,
but
regardless of the result, he has definitely shown he deserves to be fighting at the front because he's on his day on his track, he performs nearly as worth being in Tier 3.
Absolutely.
He's just he needs to, from my perspective, as soon as he improves his side-by-side racing in terms of not spinning himself out as we've seen a couple of times in previous races, that confidence does come with good performances such as this one. So you never know, this could be the race that turns his fortunes around and gets him back, fighting at the front every week.
I did say that Japan in real life has been a venue of championship deciders. Could in a roundabout way maybe be a championship decider, and it was the kickstart to Wild Dog season.
We could see it. We could see it happen. The only way to find out is to keep tuning in every week for the
Oh.
next few weeks, eh?
I love that. I love that. Of course, break week next week, but not on a Monday night. We'll be back here next Monday, so you've got racing live on CRL every Monday from now up to the beginning of December, and every Thursday, apart from a week on Thursday, up until the end of not the end of December, the middle of December. But the safety car is in this lap.
Oh no, there's collision between MEFC Harvey there, and I think it was Maverick.
It was Wuban. He's facing the wrong way actually. So it's been a fair collision, but the front runners are preparing to resume racing as Wild Dog does break away from the pack ever so slightly. Mark Wilson is keeping away from him. He's got a good jump on Mean Man Moody, who's been caught napping. Riordan
He really does.
might be looking to take advantage of this here. Of course.
That's a good getaway from Wild Dog, though. He's kept ahead of Mark Wilson, his current rival. Mark Wilson does lose a bit of the rear on the exit of turn 2, but he's still close enough to Wild Dog to make him think about the car behind him. I saw MCRE struggle on the rear of the exit of the chicane as well, but he does still keep a decent gap to Maverick ahead of him, who seemed to be a bit hesitant on the restart. Not sure what the reasoning behind that was, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's a second and a half back from Hedgehog, who's almost a second and a half, second point two back from Reverend Melvin. EFL and Mean Man Moody as well. Maybe just almost, slightly colder tyres. 2 laps to go, it's damp conditions. Do I want to light myself up trying to restart as MEFC Harvey does get momentarily by Maverick into the hairpin. Maverick holding it around the outside. Brilliant little bit of battling there, what we just caught at the end of. But MEFC
He
Harvey
does seem to be using his CRS and trying to go down the inside of Spoon. He does brake later, and he does get ahead of him. Maverick thinks better of it and does back off. MEFC Harvey ahead for the time being, as Hedgehog slowly losing a bit of pace to Reverend Melvin. AFL, two drivers sticking together like glue. AFL and Melvin still just a bit of a distance behind Riordan, the other Mercedes driver. As go on.
I was going to say, Melvin having a little bit of a dive and a little bit of a look up the inside, does pick up a 3-second penalty for his trouble, so maybe not worth it, but yeah, like you see, these two guys have been side by side throughout the entirety of the race. 2 championship contenders, which we love to see, going side by side again into turn 1 and turn 2. Melvin on the inside, little bit of wheel banging, but makes the move done, no damage to the car, so I don't think there'll be too many hard feelings for that. But
it really is great to see 2 drivers at a similar pace level driving side by side for the entire lap. They know what lines to take as we're on the final lap now. Mark Wilson close behind Wild Dog, probably doesn't want to try too hard to get past him. Wild Dog plenty of ERS in the tank left. Mean Man Moody comfortably behind, should be, with things stay as they are, should be a comfortable P2 for him, but we shall see as we go through the hairpin now with Wild Dog. Mark Wilson tries to go past him. I'm not sure what he can really gain from trying to overtake Wild Dog here, other than sort of gaining a bit of time on this potential penalty loss, but we'll see as we go into the Spoon now.
Yeah, Mean Man Moody look good for P2 at the moment. Mark Wilson only in 3 seconds, so he will have that advantage over Riordan, Reverend Melvin and EFL behind him. EFL could jump up quite a bit there as Riordan gets another 3-second penalty, and Hedgehog, you can never count him out because 2 of the cars in front of him are on 9 seconds, one of them is on 3 seconds. He could easily gain 3 positions here and easily get possibly even a P4. But Wild Dog, the man that has dominated this race weekend, maybe not dominated in quali, but he had a very strong performance getting P2, set the earliest to the strongest laps, and he is rounding the final corner through the triangle to cross the line for his first, I believe it is his first CRL win.
It's his first win. What a performance from him.
Brilliant from him. Mean Man Moody will get P2 with another solid drive, not picking up any penalties, well deserved, and Mark Wilson P3 for the Williams. AFL P4 in the Alfa Romeo championship leader. He'll be relatively happy for that result. Losing out points to championship rivals like Mark Wilson, but beating out over Reverend Melvin. Hedgehog, a good recovery drive from him with all the issues that he has had, up to P5. Riordan, the newbie, tried to pronounce 2 words at the same time there, gets P6 with Reverend Melvin. Slightly disappointing for him, picking up a 3-second penalty in the penultimate lap, gets P7. And there was 3 other drivers, P8, P9 and P10, but I'm not quite sure because
What performance, what a race that was.
That
really
was-
happy for Wild Dog there.
Yeah, cracking result for him. Very well deserved. And Ferrari, of course, currently I believe they are bottom of the standards at the moment. 40 points in the bank for them is a huge lift. So I'm sure he'll be spurring on for Thursday night and try and get his teammates in the higher tiers to kick on with this and continue that performance.
Yeah, I'm about to add the podium sitters to the party here so we can give a little cheeky interview for them. If you want to run through the remainder of the grid, the finishing positions while we wait for them.
Absolutely. So, as we've already said, Wild Dog started P2, managed to jump up to P1 in the Ferrari, takes the win tonight. Followed up very closely, all things considered, by Mean Man Moody in the AlphaTauri. A good result for them again tonight, and Mark Wilson completes the podium. AFL, our championship leader, in P4. A solid result, solid points for him tonight. He'll be fairly happy with that. With Hedgehog, a superb recovery drive from him for P5. Riordan, the new man in the Mercedes, solid result on his official proper debut, P6. Reverend Melvin, Maverick, Drone YT and Cashin complete your top 10. With Atomic, MEFC Harvey, Wuban, the last of your finishers. All of them, of course, will get their points with the 90% rule. Everybody that DNF'd sadly will receive nothing. And the fastest lap goes to P11 Atomic. So sadly, just one position out from getting the fastest lap bonus point. But still, a good thing to have in your scorecard, I suppose, to show that when it came down to the nitty gritty, you were the fastest man when it came to a one lap show off.
Exactly. And what performance from all of them, and you know, still, I'm sure with these drivers wanted to be part of an interview here, because what performance from Wild Dog, from Mean Man Moody, and from from Mark Wilson as well. All very commanding drives, all very opportunistic in their overtakes, and yeah, well done to everyone who raced. And I believe Hedgehog should have finished P4, but there was a bit of a glitch that dropped him back unnecessarily. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try bring them into the comms chat, so just give me a minute here.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, but of course, we've seen this glitch before a few times with the game is a sort of quirk. It seems to happen when people have maybe a sort of slight connection issues, so that might be resolved, and of course we'll get the full race results later on in the week once the stewarding panel has took place. But while Jacob sorts out our podium setters, I would like to just, on behalf of Cone Racing League, thank you all for joining in us again tonight for another race in CRC4. On a normal racing season, this would be, of course, the time for the mid-season break, for time for drivers to maybe look back and see how they can improve and reflect on their season. Of course, Codemasters being Codemasters, have decided that the Canadian Grand Prix was only going to be 27 laps last week, so of course feel free to join us back. I encourage you to join us back here for next week, for we revisit the streets of Montreal for that race. A lot of questions still to be answered. MEFC Harvey had the pace tonight, he had the pace in Canada, he looked very solid and on for a very dominant win last week. He'll be looking to replace that. Fellow title challengers and Mark Wilson, Hedgehog, Reverend Melvin, AFL, pardon me, they'll be all looking to continue on with their strong start to the race season here in Season 5. And of course, tonight's race winner in the Ferrari, Wild Dog. He's had a poor start to the season by all accounts, based on what we know he's capable of. He's proved us all what he really can do tonight with an absolutely dominant drive. He'll be one to watch next week in Canada. And then, of course, after that, we'll kick on with the second half of the season with what I can honestly say, probably the race I'm most looking forward to watching, never mind commentating. Seeing these guys race around Portugal. Brilliant track for racing, I would imagine so. A new track as well, so a pretty steep learning curve for everybody, but I think it's going to be an absolute cracker of a race in 2 weeks' time.
Right. Thank you very much for that. We've got 2 of our 3 podium sitters here now. Mr. Wild Dog, welcome. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel, mate?
Yeah, I've tried my best in quali. Thought I was at quali. First was skeptical. Never driven Japan the web before. Thought this might go terribly wrong, but in the end I thought, right, seems like P1 here. But then Harvey came out with a massive lap. Thought to myself, P2, not too bad, still the front row.
Yeah, and he definitely commanded the race from pretty much start to finish. He seemed to get ahead of MFC Harvey. It might have been, the soft tires doing their job. Was that ever a consideration to have gone to the medium tires, or were we always committed to going soft, medium, and then inters in the end?
Yeah, I was thinking to go start on mediums maybe, but I tried the same strategy as I did last week when I won a Japan race as well. Thought let's do the soft medium, and then we'll see if it goes to ends in the end or not.
Yeah. Absolute dominant drive from you today, Wild Dog. For me, your driver of the day. Can only really echo on what Jacob said with the congratulations on the win. You'll be looking not had a brilliant start to the season. We know you're a very capable driver. You'll be hoping this is the kick on for a second half title challenge. Are you expecting that? I take it you're expecting to push on for a few more podiums. I hope you are. I hope to see you up there.
I hope so as well. I had a shit start to the season. Made some mistakes here and there. Some dumb ones. Tried to make moves that didn't work out. Yeah, and thought to myself, I have to come back now in Japan. And I think I proved everybody what I can today.
Yeah, I hope you kick on in the next few races, mate, because once you get your first podium and your first win as well, you just want to keep going at it every week and repeat it, because it's a great feeling. It really is. Congratulations once again, mate.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It feels very relieving as well, as I missed out last season on Silverstone podium. So now is my first year on podium and immediately a win.
Yeah, congratulations. And have we got Mr. Mark Wilson with us as well?
How we doing?
Hi, mate. How do you? How did the race go for you, mate?
Oh, it was going really well until it started raining.
Yeah.
And I got a stupid penalty at the hairpin.
Yeah. Were you ever sort of feeling like did you ever feel like the pace was sort of matching there at the top, like matching Wild Dog, or was it always...
I honestly believed if it didn't rain, I reckon I thought I had the pace, to maybe challenge Wild Dog for the win. But I have to say he was outstanding today. He deserved that win. He was super quick.
Absolutely. So you're fancied yourself in the dry. I take it you had sort of a bit of a heads up warning going into the race. For the rain was coming, so obviously that affected your strategy going in. You weren't expecting to get to the end on dries, I'm assuming.
Well, I think it was about 10 laps in. It said that rain was going to be 10 minutes, and then it got into a few laps, and then it said it was going to be 15 minutes. So I had Cammy on the chat, and I said to him, "I don't think this rain's going to come. I don't think it's going to come." And then all of a sudden, I put the hard tyres on. I was flying. I was just about to catch Tomo, and then it just absolutely hammered down. Which obviously threw the race again. It threw the race up in the air again.
Yeah, there were definitely plenty of battles all around the track. We caught a couple of yours. We were definitely watching yours with Tomo, slowly catching.
I just couldn't get past him in the wet. I mean, I felt sorry for him in the end because he ended up going into the wall and retiring. But he literally, I could not, for love nor money, get past him.
Yeah,
I was trying everything.
Yeah, well, congrats once again, mate. That's another great result for you, and I think it sort of moves you up on the table a little bit. I'm not too sure on the specifics, but yeah, any comments from you, Scott?
I would just like once again just to thank. Well, first of all, Jacob, thank you for joining me again tonight. I'd like to again thank CRL Livery for giving the opportunity to do the comms, and of course the drivers. We can't do a league without the drivers, and once again for you know, the umpteenth week in a row, these guys have went out on a Monday night and put on an absolute performance. It's been a pleasure to watch. I can't wait to be back next week for Canada, the following week Portugal, and for the rest of the season, if you choose to keep me around, of course. That's
review, that's for sure.
it'll depend how available everybody else is, of course.
You can't get rid of freefall now.
I'm part of the furniture, mate.
Part of the furniture, exactly.
Yeah, there's an antique cuckoo clock on the wall. You can't get rid of it.
I hope that's not an age joke. But
I prefer it to be.
Well, I suppose we'll wrap things up. Once again, yeah, thank you for everybody for tuning in tonight. All the drivers for racing, of course, and Jacob for joining me in the commentary booth.
Thank you,
I very much encourage you to tune back in on Thursday night at 7:30 BST for Tier 2 and Tier 3 as we take on the mighty Suzuka circuit. And then tune in at 8:30 for the pinnacle of Cone Racing League to see our very own AJ Wuhan try and take his third win in a row round the circuit. Until then, I have been CRL Freefall, been joined by the wonderful AJ Wuhan, also known as Jacob, and we will see